So, a couple weeks ago I did a video talking about Halo 5, and most of my frustrations for Halo 5 came from the fact that a lot of the bad decisions that are made in it revolve around the internet. You can't play co-op offline with your friend, split screen. Why? Because they want you online. And there's microtransactions. The one thing I forgot to mention was how you only have 3 missions with Chief, but let's not backtrack too much. That video was the inspiration for this video, and if you can see the title of this video, then you know that today we're going to talk about how the internet ruins or is ruining gaming. Before I decided I was going to do this video, I threw the idea by one of my friends, and he was like, "Ruining? Don't you mean it's already ruined?" I think he has a good point in a lot of areas. But today I'm going to talk about this, and some of you are going to agree, some of you are going to disagree, but when it comes down to it, you can't deny I bring a lot of truth. Before I get into the video proper, I do want to do another little shout out or channel recommendation, whichever one you want to call it. This is not always going to be for underdog channels. The last time I did this, I was shouting out for Adam Buskirk and Perils of Pokey. If you've yet to check them out, go check them out. I like their content. Today I'm going to be talking about Matthew Matosis. If you haven't seen this guy or have never heard of him, he does really good in-depth videos discussing video games and critiquing most of them. He's done series on Metal Gear Solid, he's done series on The Legend of Zelda, and I really recommend checking out his BioShock Infinite and his Dark Souls 2 critiques. He's really intelligent, and he goes through a lot of different things about these games, like the stories, the technical faculties, the reception, all these different little things. So I think if you check his channel out, you'll get a lot out of it. He's really, really good at what he does. And he has some long videos on there, like a 6 hours Dark Souls, 6 hours? Yeah, 6 hours of Dark Souls. So that's pretty cool. I think you'll enjoy the video. So, the first thing we're going to discuss in this video about how the internet ruins or is ruining gaming is what I like to call the disconnect of the campaign. Now, I come from a time in which gaming was not about a high score or about your kill-death ratio. It was about exploring worlds, enveloping yourself in stories, getting to know characters, great scenarios. It was about a campaign. These days, however, you have a lot of these new age gamers that just think it's about what they can do on multiplayer with their friends. I've seen the campaign get pushed aside more and more, and it really bothers me. When I say campaign, though, don't think I just mean single-player affairs. I also mean playing co-op split-screen with your friends, which sometimes doesn't happen in games, too. Not every game needs co-op. I've had people argue with me before. I remember making a comment about Halo 5 having no split-screen. Somebody saw my banner and was like, "Well, The Legend of Dragoon has no split-screen." Yeah, no shit, it's a single-player RPG, fucktard. But we have a real issue now with either campaigns being completely ignored, being lackluster, or being pushed off to the side. What do I mean? Well, last generation I had my fair share of shooters that I bought, like Medal of Honor or Call of Duty games or Battlefield games, and later in the gen, the campaign was on the second disc. If that isn't somebody saying, we don't really care about this, multiplayer's where it's at, I don't know what else is. And even when a campaign wasn't shoveled off to a secondary disc, sometimes it was lackluster. I like the Battlefield series. I've been a fan of Battlefield since Bad Company. And with Battlefield 3, I played one of the absolute worst campaigns I've ever played in a shooter. I will say that Medal of Honor, the reboot, and Medal of Honor Warfighter are better than Battlefield 3. Call of Duty Ghosts campaign is better than Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3 has a shit campaign. Boring, tedious, repetitive, and cliche as all balls. But why is that? That's because they focused way too much on multiplayer and shoehorned a campaign in at the last moment. Now, don't get me wrong, they did fix it with Battlefield 4, but really, guys? Really? That's not the only issue. You have some games now that are taking their campaigns online only, like Halo 5. The Halo 5 you can play campaign offline, but Destiny you can't. Destiny has online only campaign, and it's barely a campaign. And I know people are like, but Brett, the Taken King. I don't care about the Taken King. I'm talking about Destiny in its initial concept, not what they're going to try to make it through shitty patches and DLCs. Not only that, you have some games that completely ignore campaign and don't have one, like the new Battlefront game. I was pretty excited when I heard they were going to be doing Battlefront, but the more and more I saw about it, I was just like, I'm never going to play this shit. It doesn't even have a campaign. People are like, but it's got single player scenarios. That's not the same as a campaign. I want a big, thick brick wall between my campaign and my multiplayer. I don't want them integrated. I don't want half-ass one, half-ass other. No, I want a solid campaign and a solid multiplayer that I can choose to ignore. But that's one of the big issues with the internet these days. You have these people thinking that gaming isn't about a campaign. It's about how many kills you can get online with your friends and your bros. Let's speak some more about these online frag heads. I mean, I've seen so many times where there are people out there with different tastes, and I understand some people just want to play the multiplayer. But there are people all the time going, oh, well, we don't need a campaign at all. Let me be really honest. While I will ignore a multiplayer, I never say that we don't need multiplayer. Now, that doesn't mean that there are some games that don't need multiplayer. Let me ask you guys a question. I've yet to play the new Tomb Raider, the Rise of the Tomb Raider. Does that have multiplayer? Because the predecessor did, for no apparent reason whatsoever. The new Tomb Raider, does it have multiplayer? Not every game needs multiplayer, but if a game is designed around a strong campaign and a strong multiplayer, I'm never going to say, oh, we don't need multiplayer, because that's bad. That's a bad way to be. And if you want to choose to ignore the campaign, that's okay, you can. But don't ever tell somebody, well, we don't need campaigns. They shouldn't do campaigns at all. Because the very moment that Call of Duty or Battlefield, the very moment that they go multiplayer only is the day I stop buying them. Because I don't play these games for multiplayer. I didn't play Ghosts or Advanced Warfare for the multiplayer. I played them because I like solid campaigns. And the campaigns are fun. And people like, you play Call of Duty. I used to hate it. I like it now. I like the campaigns. Get the fuck over it. But you have a lot of people that think that it's just about the kill-death ratio. It's not. Me personally, I want to explore worlds. I want to get to know characters. I want to be involved in a story. I don't want to waste all my time on multiplayer killing the random dudes that I come across and hearing about how everybody fucked my mom. My mom is apparently really popular on the internet. I don't know how. Let's go into the second point of this video. DLC. Digital content. Microtransactions. Why do these exist? You know, there was a time in which I thought you could make a solid video game and it just be a solid standalone video game. These days, however, you have all these little tidbits that fall off video games like tumors. For instance, Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation, all on its own, is a very solid game. And I believe it had the pre-order bonus or some DLC about the Nostromo and playing as, the other Ripley and the crew and things like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. I think it's called Crew Expendable. I'm like, oh, okay. But I remember going on the Xbox Live arcade. On the Xbox Live service, whatever it's called now. I went on there and I checked Alien Isolation. It's got a lot more DLC than that. It's got some dumb DLC. And that's my real issue, is dumb DLC. Now, there's a big difference between DLC and expansions, and we haven't really had expansions in a long time, despite what you people say about The Witcher 3. But I would take something like what's in The Witcher 3, like the little tidbits, the free DLCs, and then the larger DLCs. I would take that over some of the dumb shit we have in games. Does anybody remember Evolve? Because I remember Evolve being one of those games that, again, had the lackluster campaign. Barely fucking had a campaign. But day one, this game was riddled with fucking DLC. Stupid shit. Who plays a game going, oh man, this massive laser rifle is pretty decent, but oh shit, that one's blue. Let me pull this $4 out of my pocket. Are you kidding me? Dumb DLC is what led to microtransactions. This kind of shit that used to just be in mobile games. Now, I've involved myself in microtransactions before. I like the little game Dead Trigger on the Kindle, and I've spent a whopping $9 in it just getting like some gold and some cash. And after I spent that $9, I haven't spent another penny in it because there's really nothing left to do after I get to the very end, which they never finished. But microtransactions don't really belong in gaming. That's really, really shitty that you have all these little bitty tidbits or coins or weapon skins or resources that you want people to buy. Now, I've been playing Fallout 4 lately, and if Fallout were to be like, oh, Bethesda announced they're doing microtransactions for resources, I'd be pissed the fuck off. Because that's one of the things I've loved about Fallout 4 is just going out and finding steel, finding ceramic, finding glass, finding oil, going through all this junk, and that's literally what it's called in the game, is junk, and scrounging for it myself and getting my own stuff. If they brought out a microtransaction that's like, oh, we just give you a couple thousand of all these resources, I'd be like, what the fuck, man? You just shot your game in the foot. And that's the thing. People don't really care. There's no integrity now. They don't care about shooting their game in the foot as long as people are paying to win. And this is leading into multiplayer now. You've got that shit in Halo 5. It's no longer a scenario of where's the rocket launcher? Where's the mongoose? Where's the energy sword? Where's the invincibility? No. It's like, oh, I've got enough requisition points. Let me just buy that thing I want. Microtransactions suck, and stupid DLC sucks. But that's not the really big issue. Internet integration into gaming has another big problem. When it comes down to DLC or microtransactions or any of this other silly stuff that you can download, one big thing I have a problem with is digital content. Now, when I'm saying digital content, I mean digital-only content. Have you guys ever paid attention to the state of digital content? Because I remember when they were announcing it, their big thing was, oh, it's going to be so much cheaper. You're gonna get so much more for so much less. We're not gonna have to manufacture a disc or a case or a cover or a booklet. They don't manufacture fucking booklets anymore anyways. We're not gonna have to manufacture all this stuff. You can just download it and you'll get all this great content for cheap. Really? Have you guys seen how expensive digital games are now? Go check Black Ops 3 right now on your respective console, digitally, and see how fucking much it costs. Call me crazy. I know video games are expensive to make, even though once again I can go watch Hollywood blockbuster movies in a theater for $8. I know they're expensive to make, but when you're not having to manufacture all this stuff, you just upload the fucking game to a service. Why can't it be cheaper? $40, $30, $20. Why can't it be cheaper? These games online, digitally, stay expensive for an exorbitant amount of time. I can go to a store and get a cheaper copy of this game used. I'd rather do that than download it off of the service for expensive amounts. Games are really, really expensive. But when you've got digital content, it should be cheaper every time. But it's not. They've even got worse things now, like these season passes and these deluxe editions and whatever editions. I mean, holy crap. The junk they stuff into these games. Not junk that I can use in Fallout 4, no, just regular old junk that they stuff into these games now to bleed the money from the stone. It's insane. I mean, I think I've mentioned this before, but I went to GameStop a while back and I bought a copy of Bullet Witch for $5. The disc was fine, it had the booklet, the case, the cover, everything. When I checked for DLC online, it had a bunch of little costumes that I could put on her, and I downloaded all of those, and I had my fun time. But the weird thing was, when I checked to see how much a digital copy of the game was, it was still $30 fucking. Are you kidding me? Do you not see that as being a little bit unreasonable? I personally don't like to ever buy digital content if I can get it physically. And there's two reasons for that. Number one, I like to actually own what I buy. And number two, it's actually cheaper. You've been had. Every single one of you has been tricked into buying these overpriced data packs. It's pathetic. But even that's not the worst thing when it comes to stuff you have to download on these fucking consoles. No. The worst thing about this generation oversaturated in the internet is this mentality right here. Are you ready for it? Are you ready? Oh, just push it out the door. We'll patch it later. How many buggy games have you played last generation and this generation? I've been pretty fortunate that most of the games I've played have been relatively untainted. Maybe they need a little bit of a patch, the graphics have a bit of a hiccup, or sometimes there's a sound bite that goes crazy. But last generation, holy shit. I made the mistake of booting up the 360 the other day, popping in Medal of Honor Warfighter, and I didn't install the HD content. Holy Jesus, it was like I was playing fucking Minecraft. And don't get me wrong, I like Minecraft. This mentality of we'll patch it later, or we'll release a buggy unfinished game, or we'll try to put the HD content on there so they can install it later, is asinine. Personally, I hate this shit. Why is it that so many developers now are pushing their games out the door unfinished? And I know some people want to bring up, but Fallout 4! Fallout 4 is glitchy, yeah. But it's a lot more manageable than some of these other games I've played in the past. Believe me, I have seen some shit. And so have you, because I tend to upload every bit of it I can find. We have a bountiful supply of internet, and you guys want to use it to fix your broken, underdeveloped games? I don't think I need to say too much more besides Unity to let you guys understand exactly how bad this can get. And that's not even the worst aspect of this bad problem. Think about this for a moment. The PlayStation 2 and the Xbox can no longer connect to the internet. They're no longer online accessible. And eventually the 360 and PS3 will be exactly like that. And eventually the PS4 and Xbox One will be exactly like that. When you release broken, buggy, unfinished games, they will stay buggy, too many B's. Broken, buggy, and unfinished forever. And I know people are like, well, I'll just patch it and then keep the patch on my console. What if your console breaks? What if lightning hits your fucking consoles and fries them like it happened to me? You can't connect to the internet again. You can't re-download it. That's a broken game from then on out. And a lot of people are like, this is just an over-exaggeration, Brett. That's never going to happen. Really? Advent Rising. That's what the games are going to be like. They're going to be like Advent Rising. And I love Advent Rising. It's a great idea. Bad game. When I look at all the games on the 360 shelf and all the games on the PS3 shelf and think about, I better get the patches and I better keep the patches, because if I don't have the patches in the future, when I decide to replay these games, they're going to suck. That's a bad thing. I don't like having to download stuff to make your game work. And don't get me wrong, there are some games I've had to download, holy shit, like 5 and 6 gigs of stuff to make a game work. That's horrible. Not to mention the fact that I wish I could prioritize between downloads to fix stuff and downloads for multiplayer data. That's a whole nother rant for another day. But you gotta download stuff to make the game work. You realize in the future that's going to be impossible. I don't know how much longer the PS3 and 360 will be online accessible, but eventually that shit's going to get cut off. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you can't patch Battlefield 4? That's a scary thought. And I like Battlefield 4, but still. This mentality of, oh, we'll just patch it later, is shit. And shitty developers are the ones that keep on doing it. Let's talk about the last thing that really pisses me off about the internet and gaming. A big aspect. People always are like, oh, the internet doesn't ruin gaming. The internet's great. I love the internet. I love the internet too. And that's why I don't like when I have to pay for the internet and then pay for a subscription service to play on that internet. This is another instance of you guys needing to be on the toilet. I won't want you to shit yourselves. PC gamers are right. When you play on PC, you can play on your internet without having to pay a fucking fee. No Xbox Live Gold, no PlayStation Plus. Both Xbox Live Gold and PlayStation Plus are shit. And the reason that they are a normality these days is because you have stupid fucking troglodyte fanboys that thought, oh, well, clearly I have to pay another fee on top of what I'm already paying for my internet in order to play with my friends. That makes a lot of fucking sense. No, it doesn't. That's why a lot of this shit happens. That's why some of these games are online only. That's why Halo 5 won't let me split screen with Taylor. It's because they want you to pay that subscription service. Delicious money, which I need more of. They want you to pay for their outlandish prices in order to play with your friends. And this is normal? This is not normal. This is not a normal. This is bullshit. This is another instance of the internet getting its claw dagger fucking into gaming and tearing the flesh from it. It's horrible. I can't understand why people defend this. I've seen people before, well, my subscription service means that I've got a quality experience. No, it doesn't. Do you know how frequently Xbox Live and PSN go down? Because it's a fucking lot. Does anybody remember when PSN went down for, what was it, like several weeks? I can't remember the exact time frame, but it was down. It got hacked. Your information was stolen. That's one thing, like when I buy gold, I don't put a credit card on there. I go to the store, I buy a card, I put in a code. Because when you put your credit card information on here to buy your stupid little DLC and transactions, when you put your credit card on there, you're going to get hacked. People are going to steal your info. And next thing you know, some fucking Malaysian douchebag is going to be buying God knows what in his country with your card. It happens. I'm sure it happens. If I have any viewers in Malaysia, just know, I love you. But when it comes down to it, they don't want you playing offline. No, they want you playing online with your friends in online-only games like Destiny and fucking Banalfront, so that you have to pay for that fucking subscription. The Xbox One doesn't have System Link. I took it over to Taylor's house, and that's pretty funny. He recently got a new HD TV, and I hooked it up for him. I took it over to Taylor's house, and I was like, oh, dude, can we play Master Chief Collection together? Nope. No System Link. I'm not buying a fucking Xbox Live subscription to play a game that'll let me split screen with Taylor. No, fuck that. We'll play Halo Master Chief Collection split screen till they patch it out. Subscription services are stupid, and people are always trying to defend them. But we get games with gold, and we get PlayStation Plus games. You're paying for them. No, they're free. No, they're not. You're paying for them. People act like just because it comes with the subscription service, it's free. Listen, free is free. What you get from me is free. Paying a subscription service for Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, that's not free. If I go and pay $60 for a subscription service and I get some games out of it, I didn't get free games. I got icing on a shit cake. If I walk up to you, hand you a game, are you going to expect to give me money? No. If I give you a game, that's free. If I make you pay for a game, that's not free. Subscription services are shit, and you dumbass fanboys need to quit defending it. All of this stuff that I've gone over in this video is just a few examples of how the internet ruins gaming. There are other examples. I'm pretty sure people could come up with a lot of different stuff about how the internet ruins gaming. You've got, people harassing each other online over video games. You've got reviewers taking shits on video games because of, whatever. You've got people like me who, go on the internet and bitch about video games. There's a lot of different things about the internet that really soils gaming. I remember a time before I knew what review scores were. I could tell whether or not a game was good or bad based on my own tastes. I didn't have to have somebody tell me, oh yeah, this is good. Here's a big bright star and some numbers so you know how good it is. I'll rant about reviews another day. If you need a big bright star or some numbers to tell how good a game is, you're a fucktard. But when it comes down to it, the internet is not good for gaming. It's pretty bad for gaming. Causes a lot of problems, causes a lot of complications, causes lazy development, and causes stupid dumbass fanboys to buy ridiculous subscriptions and microtransactions. If you disagreed with this video, tell me why. Do you like being fucked out of your money? If you agree with this video, give it a big fat thumbs up as opposed to a thumbs down, because quite frankly, the thumbs up make me happy, and the thumbs down, well, shit. That's just no fun for anybody. Don't forget that I also have a Facebook page and a Patreon in case you want to help me out a little bit. And do remember to check out that channel that I shouted out, as well as other channels that I've shouted out. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. And I hope you keep watching the channel and supporting it. If not, I think I'll just cry in the corner. Take care, everybody.